may think that it's possible to focus both on me and the road, but I just don't feel the same way. I think we should spend time away from each other when you're driving. It's for the best.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Live from the heart of Lincoln, America.
Welcome to Ticket Weeknights
on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hello and welcome into the Daily Nebraskan show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. I'm Ben Droz, one of the sports writers at the Daily Nebraskan, and I'm joined here by Anthony Rubik, one of the assistant sports editors at the Daily Nebraskan, UNL's only independent student newspaper. And tonight, we are going to pretty much only be covering the Husker men's basketball game that just ended about, what was it, an hour and a half ago?
Yeah, probably.
Hour ago. Anthony covered the game. Didn't you?
No, I did not.
Who covered it for you?
No one did.
No
actually.
one. What? So now, see, this is going to be the coverage right here.
Yep, right here.
Right here.
Now.
This is the coverage. Okay, I thought you were going to do it. It's all right. So Nebraska falls to Ohio State on the road, 78-69. And when you look at the stats, Nebraska kind of was better than Ohio State in almost every statistical category. Ohio State did shoot better from the three-point line. Ohio State shot 38% to Nebraska's 30%, but Nebraska did take more, so they hit more threes. But it was the free throw discrepancy. That's the thing that jumps out when you look at the stat sheet. Nebraska had 8 free throws. Ohio State had 28. 28. This is how I'm going to start the show, Anthony. What is the reason, in your opinion, for the free throw discrepancy? Are you, like a lot of Husker fans, blaming refs? Are you blaming Nebraska not really driving to the rim as much, maybe? Or do you think it's a combination of both? Like, what are your thoughts, Anthony?
I say it's kind of a combination of both. I think we've talked about it before on this show. Big Ten officiating, especially at home games, for whoever's at home, they tend to kind of lean towards that team, or at least that's definitely what it feels like this whole season. But a lot of it just came from Nebraska. Especially in the first half, I feel like a lot of their fouls, they're just in the wrong place at the wrong time. Ohio State was playing very out of sorts on offense, which kind of led to some bailout calls by Nebraska that, really they defended it well. They just were in the wrong spot, the wrong time. But then second half, I feel like it got a little bit more just on the ref side, kind of just feeding into Ohio State more. But even with that being said, Nebraska, they could have definitely won this game, even with this giant free throw discrepancy between the two teams. They just ended up not making enough baskets as the game went on. Didn't really have a big standout performance outside of Jamarcus Lawrence off the bench. No one else really stepped up. I know Rank Mass had 14 points, but still 5 of 14 from the field.
Yeah.
I don't think he had as good as a game as his stats suggest. But yeah, free throws, it definitely became a common theme throughout.
Me and Harrison got touched on it on the post-game show, but yeah, Mast, while 14 points, Husker fans are like, oh, 14 points, that's okay. That's a decent game from Mast. Like you said, he was 5 of 14 from the field. Not great. And against a team like Ohio State, you just expect a little bit more from Mast, just because this was a favorable matchup for Mast, in my opinion. Last time he played Ohio State, he had 34. I'm not saying he needed to have 34 to say he had a good game. Obviously not. But I was expecting him to at least have like 18 or be in the low 20s. That was kind of what I was expecting. And while he did get 14, so he wasn't that far below, he was just inefficient when he got the ball. Like, a lot of times when Mast hasn't scored as much, I feel like it's just because he wasn't getting the opportunities. But tonight, I just feel like he really didn't have that good of a game.
Yeah, especially in the first half, he really just had a rough first 20 minutes. He had 4 points at the half, only one made basket. The other 2 were free throws, only 1 field goal. And yeah, it was just, he was very hesitant, I feel like, early on. He'd get down low and then just kind of lay up a duck, not really finish throughout. He had some shots that kind of rimmed in and out, so unlucky there. But that's really been the case with him these last couple games. I mean, against Minnesota, he was 3 of 12 from the field. And then against Indiana, he was just 1 of 5. He didn't take as many shots as he did the previous or the other 2 games, but still just some very inefficient performances as of late for Mass. And that kind of worries me going forward for Nebraska.
Yeah. I mean, so some Husker fans, which, I mean, not all, but some Husker fans like to overreact. So there's some Husker fans that now think Nebraska is not a tournament team. Everyone needs to calm down a little bit.
Yeah.
Nebraska is still a tournament team, easily, in my opinion. I think they're pretty locked in.
Yeah.
I feel like the only way Nebraska doesn't make the tournament is if it's a complete shutdown. They lose to Rutgers and Michigan to finish out the season, and they don't get the double bye in the Big Ten tournament, and they lose first round. Like, I feel like that's the only way they don't get in. And even if they do that, they'd still probably be on the bubble. They still might get in, depending on what other teams do. So I like Nebraska. So people saying that Nebraska is not going to make the tournament now, I think you need to pump the brakes on that. But I would be okay with people questioning if Nebraska can actually win a game in the NCAA tournament, win their first round game. Because how can Nebraska be successful away from PBA? I understand that when Nebraska makes the NCAA tournament, they might get to play in Omaha. So it's going to be close to home. Husker fans will travel, obviously, to Omaha, but it's still not going to be PBA. And so that worries me a little bit more. Like, I'm not worried about Nebraska not making the tournament. I may be a little bit more worried on if Nebraska can actually win a tournament game. What do you think, Anthony?
Yeah, I think the same. Out of the final 3 games on their schedule, at Ohio State tonight versus Rutgers and then at Michigan, this was the game Nebraska, they could afford to lose this game. Obviously, Ohio State, a quad 1 team on the road. Yeah, this loss, it stings. Yeah, it looks on paper, it is a bad loss playing against an Ohio State team without their leading scorer in Bruce Thornton. Very winnable game that they just let slip through their hands. But in this grand scheme of things, it doesn't knock them out of the tournament.
No.
It's how they're going to do these next couple games against Rutgers, against Michigan. Those are some must-win games, I think, going forward. But yeah, right now they're still in the tournament field. And it just shows how they had the win at Indiana last week. And you think maybe the tides are turning. Maybe Nebraska's finally figured it out. But then they go into the game tonight, and they have a very, very similar performance to their previous road games in Big Ten play.
Yeah. So with the loss, Nebraska is now behind Wisconsin if it were to end today in the Big Ten tournament. But with Nebraska having 2 easy games left on the schedule and Wisconsin having to go against, I believe it's Purdue and Illinois.
Yep.
Nebraska will probably pass Wisconsin up because Nebraska should win those. Wisconsin will probably lose both of those. So Nebraska's probably going to get the double bye. And if Nebraska gets the double bye, you should be a tournament team. Like, there's no way you're a double bye team and you don't make the tournament. Like, and if that does happen, only Nebraska. That would only happen to Nebraska. It would happen to nobody else but Nebraska.
Funny, the last time Nebraska had a double bye in the Big Ten tournament, 2017-2018 season, didn't make the tournament. We're a 5th seed in the NIT tournament.
That's just, yeah. I mean, but Nebraska they just have the top. They don't have bad losses. They have no quad 3 or 4 losses, and they have all the top. They have enough top wins.
Yeah,
Purdue, Wisconsin, quote unquote, was a good win. Northwestern, Michigan State. Like, you beat all the top teams in the Big Ten besides Illinois, and you played Illinois really tough on the road. So I think Nebraska is pretty much a walk to get into the NCAA tournament. Can they win a game? We'll see. I'm still confident Nebraska can win a game, but this definitely dampened my expectations a little bit just because I just don't know. Like, I'm not as worried about the road struggles as I was a month ago because, I mean, Nebraska played Illinois tough, played a good second half against Northwestern, beat Indiana, and then barely lost to Ohio State here. So, like, they're right there, but it's still just concerning because you only get one shot in the NCAA tournament. And if you have one bad game, I mean, it's over. So it's going to be definitely interesting to see if Nebraska can perform away from PBA. But let's go more into the actual game. Mast had 14. We kind of touched on him. Jamarcus Lawrence, he's been playing really good. He is top double-digit points in each of the past 3 games. He has taken over that CJ Wilcher role.
Yeah, for sure. He's really stepped it up and really has thrived in this new role on the bench. In that show tonight, very efficient, 5 of 7 from the field, 3 of 5 from 3-point range. That's another thing. He's really improved from deep. Just over these past 3 games, he was shooting, I think, 28% going into these past 3 games, and now he's definitely moved that percentage up. And yeah, with him, he brings some much needed energy to the game. Just with the way he's able to bring the ball up the court in such a fast way. He has great speed with the ball, and that really just helps get the offense going, helps catch the defense off guard. And yeah, he really kept Nebraska in this game, especially in the second half. I think he had a run where he scored 10 straight Nebraska points. And yeah,
he had a really good game. Not only did he score 14 points, he went 3 of 5 from the 3-point line, and he had the most assists for Nebraska in this game. He had 5. So like it was just an all-around good game for Jamarcus Lawrence. It's really weird that Wilcher has just all of a sudden been a non-factor pretty much since Lawrence has went to the bench. I don't really know what to make of that. I'm not going to expect that to change anytime soon unless there's an injury. It kind of just seems like Hoiberg now prefers Lawrence over Wilcher because Lawrence, not only is he the top bench guy, he played the second most minutes tonight for Nebraska. The second most after only Mast. Mast had 32 minutes. Lawrence had 30. The next closest was Gary with 27. Like, Hoiberg has really been liking what he's been seeing from Lawrence.
Yeah, and then with Wilcher, this was kind of a game. They played him a lot more this game than they have in games past. Against Indiana and against Minnesota, Wilcher played 11 minutes in both of those games. Tonight, he played 21 minutes. And wow, yes, he shot 3 of 8 from the field, 1 of 5 from deep. It was one of his better performances as of late with 8 points. He had a nice and one. I get it. He obviously was one of the best 3-point shooters in the Big Ten early in the year, all the way up to that Wisconsin game. And now has been going on a cold streak. But I think he needs to kind of maybe shy away from 3-pointers just a little bit. Focus on the inside game because he showed some promise there tonight with nice finishes at the rack, had the and one floater, and he did hit a corner 3 too, maybe helped regain some confidence, but then ended up missing another one. But yeah, I think that tonight overall, again, wasn't a great game for him, but at least maybe a step in the right direction.
Yeah, I agree. I don't really have much to add to that. You did a good job there, Anthony. So I'll move on to Mas Tominaga only had 9 points. Not a great game from Tominaga. Alec, he took 2 shots, had 2 rebounds. Like
pretty much a non-factor.
Just like it just seems like in these games where Nebraska struggles, I feel like Alec also struggles. Like when I don't remember a game where Alec had a really good game and Nebraska lost. There might be one that's slipping from my mind, but it's like, this is why I said Alec is one of the more important pieces of this team. He's not the flashiest, but Nebraska needs Alec to play his role very well to win. And that role is being the energy guy, getting rebounds, help on defense. Like that's what he needs to bring. And he didn't bring in as much tonight. Yeah.
And especially that proved to be something Nebraska very much needed with Mass not having the best game either. Again, 14 points, but 5 of 14 from the field, really struggled on the inside. And if Mass, if he's not having a great game and Alec isn't having a good game, then Nebraska really just has no big man. They have no inside scoring, or they have guys like Gary Williams, but they don't have any guy who can just post up a big man, post up a center. And that really, I think, proved to be a disadvantage for Nebraska tonight, especially with them not doing the best from 3.
Again, if you want to text into the show, the text line is open 402-464-5685. We'd love to hear your thoughts. You can also comment on the streaming on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch. And we're also on Allo 961. Before we throw it to break, just kind of want to get some few final thoughts. For Ohio State, battle at 32 points for Ohio State. 32. I'm not missaying that. He almost scored half the amount of points that Nebraska had. Nebraska scored 69. Battle had 32. That's almost half. What he did? He looked unstoppable out there at some points.
Yeah, he started the game, I think, 3 of 3 from deep. Yeah. It was a very necessary game that Battle had for Ohio State. Without Bruce Thornton, you missed the game with a migraine. And I was talking about it yesterday, how if Nebraska were to be able to hold at least one of the big 3 for Ohio State to have an off night, that is Jameson Battle, Roddy Gale, and Bruce Thornton, then they would have a good shot at winning. Obviously, Thornton was out, but then Battle really kind of stepped up, pretty much produced something that 2 players in one would do with 32 points. And then Roddy Gale had 16 points as well, the second leading scorer on Ohio State. So with the 2 guys playing in Ohio State's big 3, Nebraska really struggled to contain them. A lot of their points did come from the free throw line, which just shows, maybe Nebraska's defense kind of struggling to contain them, struggling to maintain them. And yeah, it was a very, very needed game for Ohio State.
Yeah, I mean, some people are saying Ohio State might be on the bubble for the NCAA tournament. I wouldn't go that far, but
still have a lot of work to do for that.
They definitely have some work to do. They're probably gonna have to make a run in the Big Ten tournament to make the NCAA tournament, but we'll see. We would definitely see Ohio State might be getting hot at just the right time. And a team that's not hot right now is Wisconsin. And I'm really intrigued to see what's going to happen when we get to the end of the year for Wisconsin. I know I'm going a little off track, but Wisconsin, they have Purdue and Illinois. They lose both of those, lose probably second round of the NCAA tournament because they're going to get the round 1 bye. Things could get interesting. It could, the committee's going to have to make some decisions if Wisconsin loses their last 2 regular season games and then get bounced in their first game of the Big Ten tournament.
Oh, yeah, for sure. We talked about it a little on the show last night, just going over all the Big Ten teams who have a chance in tournament play. And yeah, it's really sink or swim territory, I think, for Wisconsin, as they don't have any kind of tune-up games like at least Nebraska against Rutgers and Michigan. They have some very favorable matchups, some games that, they can, they had the loss tonight, but they can hopefully bounce back in those games and carry some momentum into Minneapolis. Wisconsin really doesn't have that luxury. They've faced Rutgers, but then again, that's sandwiched in between the 2 best teams in the conference. So be very interesting to see how those games turn out.
And not only that, Wisconsin only has 18 wins right now.
Yep.
And if they lose their last 2 regular season games, don't win a game in the Big Ten tournament, they're going to finish with 18 wins. Is that a tournament team? If this was Nebraska, they wouldn't even be in the conversation for making a tournament team. I'm sorry, I just got to say it. But with that, we got to throw it to break. When we come back, we'll get some more Husker men's basketball talk right here on the Daily Nebraskan Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Acres is bringing you the nation's largest indoor display of John Deere equipment and technology. Acres 2024 Ag and Turf Expo showcases everything from tillage and planting to application and harvest. We'll also offer the latest industry insights from ag professionals across the state. Join us at the Sandhills Global Event Center March 6th and 7th or Fauner Park March 21st and 22nd. Go to acres.com/expo24 for a complete schedule of speakers and activities.
Eustace Body Shop, where our customers send their friends. That's the greatest compliment we can receive. If you've been in an accident, we'll get you back in your vehicle as quickly as possible. Our technicians care about you and your family and repair your vehicle to factory standards. We handle your claim from start to finish and provide a free loaner car. Stop by for a free estimate. Eustace Body Shop, just south of 88th and Highway 2.
The most recommended Eustace Body Shop. That's who we are.
1 in 3 adults has prediabetes. 1 in 3. That means it could be you, your football buddy, your football buddy, or you, your best man, your worst man, you, your dog walker, your cat jogger. While 1 in 3 adults has prediabetes, with early diagnosis, prediabetes can be reversed. Take the risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org. That's doihaveprediabetes.org.
Wait, did they just say 1 in 3 adults has prediabetes? That's 33.33333% of adults. That means it could be me, my boss, or my boss's boss, or me, my favorite sister, or my other sister. That's 7 members of my 21-person romantic book club. Wait, the 1 in 3 could be me, my karaoke partner Carol, or my karaoke enemy Jeff. I'm going to take the risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org.
Brought to you by the Ad Council and its pre-diabetes awareness partners.
Discover the difference that expertise and experience can make in your real estate journey with Next Ag Appraisal and Realty. Whether you need an appraisal, sales, or farm management, Next Ag comes up with a solution with your legacy and goals in mind. Next Ag isn't just their name, it's your future. So why wait? Visit their website today at www.nextagrealestate.com or give them a call at 402-380-0432 and turn your dreams into reality. Your land, your legacy, their solutions. Next Ag Appraisal and Realty.
The Stars' next home game is coming up on Friday, March 1st, when they host the Tri-City Storm at 7:05 at the Ice Box. It's $2 night with Busch Light and PBR cans available for only a couple of bucks. It's also Hockey Fights Cancer Night, and the Stars will be wearing specialty jerseys that will be auctioned off after the game. Secure your seats now at LincolnStars.com or by calling 402-474-7827.
High school basketball fans, take a trip over to the Nebraska High School Sports Hall of Fame while you're in town for state hoops. Admission is free, and it's a great way to learn about some of the greatest athletes and teams to come out of the state, from recently to over 100 years ago in all sports. Learn more about names like Gale Sayers, Johnny Rogers, Bob Gibson, Tom Osborne, and more. Open Wednesday through Friday from 1 to 4 p.m. It's the Nebraska High School Sports Hall of Fame, just north of Haymarket Park at 500 Charleston Street.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and we have some really big savings for you right now. Our new crossover sale is underway. New Terrains, Equinoxes, and Trailblazers starting at $23,290. That's right, $23,290. Also, we've continued our huge Sierra and Silverado truck sale with over $10,000 off new pickups. You heard right, over $10,000 off list. Koppel truly has a small town feel with big city deals. We're right down 144th Street or at KoppelCars.com. Stock numbers G260980 and C119824.
Ever wish you had another light switch on the other side of the room on a dark night? How much better would you sleep at night if you had a ceiling fan in your room? The High Electric Service Department is here to make your electrical what-ifs a reality. Whether you're looking to replace some outdated light fixtures or brighten up your counters with under-cabinet lighting, High Electric can handle all types of residential electrical installations and services. Give Erica a call at 402-466-6606 or visit high-electric.com to get started.
Where will your path take you, traveler? To seek fortune in a new career? Or on a journey to distant lands for a well-deserved vacation? Wherever you go, one distraction could spell disaster. You can change your fate, adventurer. Don't drive distracted. Paid for by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Back to the Ticket weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hello and welcome back into the Daily Nebraskan show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. If you want to text into the show, the text line is open. 402-464-5685 is the number. Love to hear your comments, what you thought about the game. We're going to wrap up the talk just of the Ohio State game, and then we're going to kind of preview Nebraska's next game on Sunday against Rutgers, which will be at home, which if you see that it's a game at home from Nebraska, you might as well just put a W by that in the win column, it seems like, because Nebraska's just been so good at home. But before we go into that, we can finish wrapping up the talk for this game, because one player we haven't touched on was Gary. Gary had a really good game against Indiana, maybe a career best game. And tonight only played 27 minutes, was 0 of 6 from the 3-point line, and only had 8 points.
Yeah, it was just not the best performance following up a career day against Minnesota.
Oh yeah, Minnesota. I keep saying Indiana. Minnesota.
He had that insane posterizing dunk. But that was really it for him highlight-wise. 3 of 12 from the field, 0 of 6 from 3. I remember after the Minnesota game, when they were interviewing him, he hit 4 3-pointers that game, a career high. And then they asked him about it, and he was like, nothing special with him hitting 3-pointers. He says he's worked on his shot. If he sees an open shot, he's going to take it. That definitely proved the case tonight. The shots just were not falling.
Yeah, over 6.
Another thing is he was one of the many Huskers in foul trouble. He had 4 fouls.
Mm-hmm.
I think he was playing with 4 the last 4 or 5 minutes of the game. he got that pretty early in the second half. So he was very limited on the defensive end, playing against guys like Jamison Battle, who just had a great night no matter who was guarding him for Nebraska. But yeah, just a very underwhelming performance. But I think it's something that he can bounce back from.
Yeah. I mean, Nebraska, speaking of foul trouble, Nebraska had 21 fouls called on them, personal fouls. Ohio State only 9.
Jeez.
Almost like that is double,
Mhm.
over double. So it's just real weird because I don't feel like it's Nebraska being undisciplined. Like, I don't feel like it's Nebraska just like not being disciplined, like not going up straight, reaching in when they shouldn't. Like, I don't feel like it was more that. It was just like, I know the whistle just wasn't going Nebraska's way. I'm never one to really want to blame games on the refs because, I mean, even if you don't agree with the officiating, that's still usually it is not an excuse. But tonight, maybe it's different because it just seems like 11 more fouls called for the other team. 12 more fouls called for the other team. That seems a little ridiculous.
Yeah, for sure. Looking at Nebraska, they had 5 players with at least 3 or more fouls, including 3 players with 4 fouls, Juwan Gary, Bryce Williams, and Jamarcus Lawrence. It was a very frustrating game for Nebraska. It was a constant theme throughout the game. First half, second half, fouls just continued to plague the team. And yeah, this was a team against Minnesota, especially in the first half. They did a great job on defense, not fouling Minnesota. I think Minnesota had 1 free throw the entire first half. Second half, they were able to get to the line a little bit more. The Gophers were, but still not that big of an issue. Nebraska won convincingly. But it really has been a case in these road games as against Indiana, they also lost. Indiana also shot more free throws than Nebraska. I think they shot 10 more than them in that game.
Yeah.
Only thing is they couldn't convert from this line. They were 14 of 24 from the charity stripe, whereas Ohio State 24 of 28 tonight.
Do you know what it was? How many free throws did Minnesota have?
I'll
let you check that while I'll give you some time to check that. But yeah, I mean, it's something that has just been really strange, the foul issues, because I don't feel like this was at all an issue earlier in the season, unless I just wasn't realizing it.
Yeah. Minnesota shot 19 free throws. Nebraska also shot 19 free throws in the last game.
But
so
that's
pretty even.
But still just like a lot of free throws
very
for the other
high
team.
amount. Yeah.
So it's interesting. I'm wondering if this is going to be a problem heading into the Big Ten tournament. Because like if Nebraska keeps having these foul issues, like it could hurt them.
Oh, yeah.
Like it could easily be the reason that Nebraska loses a game in the Big Ten tournament or NCAA tournament. Like it's just going to be pretty interesting to see. But with that, let's kind of move on to the preview against Rutgers, because Rutgers just beat Michigan. They just took away the final score. So I don't have the final score on the TV.
82 to 52.
A 30-point win for Rutgers over Michigan. And by the way, Rutgers and Michigan, the last 2 regular season games for Nebraska. So kind of interesting that they play tonight. But Rutgers beats Michigan by 30. They are now 12-4 at home this season. But Rutgers is going to be traveling to Lincoln to play Nebraska, a place Nebraska has only lost one time at home. And that was early in the season against a good Creighton team. So, Anthony, I just want to get your thoughts on if you have really any concerns about Nebraska in this game.
I don't. I think I could see this game kind of being similar to the Minnesota game. This is a team that they played earlier in the season. Nebraska was on the road, and it was a game where Nebraska on that flight home was definitely very mad. This was a game that Nebraska could have won. They held I'm pretty sure they held a double-digit lead in both halves of the game, and they ended up losing in overtime to Rutgers. They just couldn't put them away, and it definitely is a bad loss on Nebraska's resume. I mean, not a quad 3 loss, but a quad 2 loss for sure. Just the game that Nebraska should have won. And this Rutgers team, they got Jeremiah Williams, who was reinstated, started on a 4-game win streak with him, but had since lost 3 in a row before picking up a nice win over Michigan tonight.
A nice win, quote unquote. He's making it sound better than it is.
I mean, still, a 30-point win is a 30-point win.
I agree.
So they're going into Lincoln with some momentum, but so were teams like Michigan, when they played a while back, like Penn State, like Minnesota, and Nebraska's just been really able to stop them right where they're at and control the game both on offense and defense. I see the same thing happening Sunday.
Yeah. I think in that the last time they played Rutgers, Nebraska started off both halves pretty good, but then just like couldn't close out a half. They just Rutgers made a huge run at the end of both halves. So that's going to be key here is Nebraska's probably going to win this game, but will Nebraska play a full 48 minutes? That is what I want to see from Nebraska because we really haven't seen that this season. Even against Michigan, Nebraska did not play a full 48 minutes. Like Hoiberg was not happy with how they ended the first half. Even though they were up by 20, he was like, we should be up by 30 right now. Or he was saying they should have been up 30 after the half. So it's going to be interesting to see if Nebraska can play a full 48 if they're capable of doing it.
Yeah, it'll be interesting as well to see who on this team, if anyone, has this kind of bounce back game. Because outside of Lawrence tonight, no one I think really had a great performance, a great outing. Bryce Williams was a guy we didn't mention in the first segment, but he went 3 of 7 from the field, only 7 points. He had usually been the guy who would quietly have a good game.
Yeah.
Who you wouldn't think he didn't make any like insane plays or any standout moments, but when you check the box score, he might have had 18 points or a double, something like that. Nothing like that tonight. Only 2 rebounds, pretty low for his standards. I'd be interested to see on how he could bounce back. Obviously, Keisei Tominaga, it will be senior night for both him and Josiah Alec. Very emotional night. Last time they're probably going to play in Pinnacle Bank Arena. So I expect them to at least try to have a good game. I expect Keisei to be shooting a lot of 3-pointers. So it'll be very interesting to see.
Yeah, that's another reason. I mean, Nebraska should win this game, and it's also senior night. It just doesn't seem like a game Nebraska loses. Then after that, Nebraska plays Michigan, and Michigan's just not very good. So Nebraska has a pretty good chance to get their second conference road win of the season when they play Michigan. But with that, so let's say Nebraska beats Rutgers, beats Michigan, both pretty handily. How are you feeling going to the Big Ten tournament? Do you feel like Nebraska can make a run in the Big Ten tournament? Or do you feel because they're not going to be at PBA, they might struggle a little bit in the Big Ten tournament?
I think they could win a game in the Big Ten tournament. I think if we're going off that logic where Nebraska takes care of business in their last 2 games, which I think they will, and Wisconsin, at least loses to Purdue. They're playing at Purdue.
Both.
Yeah.
No, Anthony, they're going to lose both.
Yeah. So I think they'll be probably the 4th seed in Minneapolis, which would probably set up a matchup with Wisconsin in their first game.
And Wisconsin's been bad.
Yeah. Honestly, yeah, you're maybe not even Wisconsin. Maybe they fall to whoever they play in the
Michigan State or Iowa
single bye game.
Could
Exactly.
Not only will they might fall in that, but they could fall in the Big Ten standings where Nebraska might not even play them in their first game.
Yeah. So looking at Nebraska's first game, the 3 most likely opponents would be either Wisconsin, Michigan State, or Iowa, which Iowa is playing great basketball right now, trying to make a late push for the NCAA tournament. On the other hand, Wisconsin and Michigan State are kind of playing themselves out of the tournament right now, really not playing good basketball. They're dropping a lot of games that they should be winning, which I think that kind of plays perfectly into what Nebraska is hoping for in this tournament. They'll have the double bye. So they will, Wisconsin, especially in the game before, if say the 5 seeds game is just a 40-minute battle, maybe even extra time, stuff like that. So I think Nebraska could definitely win that one game, but then they'll most likely play Purdue in the semifinals for the Big Ten tournament.
That would be tough.
That would be a tough game. I don't know if they can really pull that off. That being said, if they do pull that off,
Nebraska would probably be a top 5 seed in the tournament then.
I think so, yeah. At least 6 seed.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting. One more thing that I want to touch on about Rutgers was Nebraska. I feel like the only way, I say this every time, only way Nebraska loses is turnovers and rebounding. And I'm interested to see how this bigger lineup goes against Rutgers, because Rutgers is a really good rebounding team, I feel like.
They have Clifford Amorui, who is just an absolute beast on the glass, averaging 8.5 rebounds a game. He had 15 rebounds tonight, 19 points. he's also a guy who can have 8 blocks in a game. He is just one of the best defenders in the Big Ten. It'll be very interesting to see how Mass matches up against him, as playing against guys like this haven't really gone the best for him outside of the Purdue game, which seems like a massive outlier. But still, it's against Zach Edey, the best player in college basketball. Very weird, but be very interesting to see that matchup.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to, because Mass has had other good games besides Purdue.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I mean, because Rutgers, just last time they played, the reason Rutgers won is because they just dominated the glass. I don't even remember how many offensive rebounds they had, but I just remember
it was
an ungodly amount. So it's going to be interesting what Nebraska is going to do to try to mitigate that. Because if Nebraska gives up 25 offensive rebounds again, even though they're at home, it's probably going to be a close game. Because they can't afford that, especially if they have another poor shooting night like they did tonight against Ohio State.
Yeah, just looking at the stats from their first meeting, Rick Mass had 4 points on 2 of 12 shooting.
Exactly.
He had 8 rebounds, but again, Nebraska got killed in the rebounding battle, 56 to 42.
He's saying killed, but that's lightly.
Exactly. They had 42 rebounds. Rutgers had 56, and then again 25 offensive rebounds to Nebraska's 11. It was inexcusable.
And not only that, it was just an ugly game to watch. So I hope we get a better game this time around. Or I don't know if I'm going to watch the whole 48 minutes, the whole 40 minutes, because man, it was really hard to stay tuned in. And then when the game went to overtime, I'm like, yay, we get 5 more minutes of this.
Yeah.
But I think this is a good game for Nebraska to bounce back after a tough loss against Ohio State. It's still just like, I want to say fans are overreacting to the road thing, but with another loss on the road, but I don't know if I can blame them, because their only win is against Indiana, and Indiana's not that great of a team. So it's just like, this is something about this team that just can't put it together on the road. They've been better on the road than they were at the beginning of the season. At least they're not getting blown out by teams like Maryland or Iowa now, but it's just been bad.
Yeah, even the Indiana game, they won by 15 points, but they were coming back. Yeah, they had a 20-point lead at the half, watched it dwindle all the way down to 3 points, only for them to again pull away at the end. While they were able to pull out a convincing win, that's still just, they weren't able to play a complete 40 minutes. They weren't able to play a complete game that really Nebraska should have played, based on how well that first half went and just how the second half, like Indiana was literally booed by their own fans heading into the halftime locker room. Morale was at an all-time low in that game, and they still nearly made a comeback, only for Nebraska to pull away. So yeah, the Michigan game at the end of the year, playing a team that it's going to be their senior night, so maybe there's a little bit more fight.
No.
But I mean, Juwan Howard might not even be their coach at that point.
It's that Michigan game's probably going to be more of like a neutral site game. It's going to be interesting, but I think Nebraska wins their final 2 games and probably wins 1 game in the Big Ten tournament. I agree with you. I think they'll probably win their first game, and then if they get matched up with Purdue, that'd be tough. Purdue's a good team, but like I said, last time Nebraska played them, they kind of found the answer. Although that was at home. So I just like, this is the thing, is like, we've seen Nebraska beat top teams, but then it's just like, okay, but can they do it away from PBA? They just haven't shown that they can do it away from PBA. So I don't know how I can say that they're going to make it around the Big Ten tournament, because they haven't done it away from PBA. Like, it's just so, this team it's going to be interesting. I think it's going to be an exciting month of March for fans, and it's going to be interesting to see. But with that, we got to throw it to break. When we come back, we're just going to wrap up the show, final 10 minutes of the show before we head out of here for the night. But you're listening to the Daily Nebraskan Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
At Planet Fitness, Leap Day means an extra day of energy. And who doesn't love energy? To celebrate, now through February 29th, you can join for 29 cents down, $10 a month, and pay nothing until March 17th. Even better, you'll get free fitness training and equipment for every workout, with most clubs open 24 hours. So take advantage of your extra day and get energized at Planet Fitness. Join for 29 cents down, $10 a month, cancel anytime, and pay nothing until March 17th. Deal ends February 29th. See Home Club for details.
For over 15 years, Integrated Life Choices has empowered individuals with disabilities in Lincoln and throughout Nebraska. They provide comprehensive services from group homes and independent living services to job training, ensuring fulfilling lives for those that they serve. Now, they're inviting you to join their mission. If you're passionate about making a difference in the lives of people with developmental disabilities, explore rewarding career opportunities with them. Learn more about their services and apply today at www.ilc.net. Be a part of Integrated Life Choices, where your work truly changes lives.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Infrastructure, a veteran-owned local company proudly serving Lincoln, Lancaster County, and the surrounding areas. Bauer provides quality work at an affordable price, and they're growing rapidly. If you want to experience a career with a fast-paced, family-friendly environment, visit BauerInfrastructure.com. They have top-of-the-line benefits, year-round work, even through the winter. Bauer, usher in the new era of infrastructure to an area near you. And as always, go Big Red!
What a day. I could sure use an afternoon pick-me-up. Hold up, the new 93.7 The Ticket location has a milk, coffee, and tea inside? Oh yeah, this is a game changer.
Need an afternoon pick-me-up? How about a coffee or smoothie on your way to work? Stop by the Ticket Mill location on 1040 O Street to get your go-to drink or try out our new game day drinks exclusive to the Ticket Mill location. We know it'll make your day a million times better.
You never think cancer will happen to you. I smoked for over 40 years. My doctor recommended that I get annual lung cancer screening. They were able to catch my cancer at stage 1. It's never too late to quit. Even if you're still smoking, you need to ask your doctor about annual lung cancer screening. Just 30 minutes a year could save your life.
Call the Nebraska Tobacco Quit Line, 1-800-QUIT-NOW, 1-800-784-8669. Paid for by Tobacco Free Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and we have some really big savings for you right now. Our new crossover sale is underway. New Terrains, Equinoxes, and Trailblazers starting at $23,290. That's right, $23,290. Also, we've continued our huge Sierra and Silverado truck sale with over $10,000 off new pickups. You heard right, over $10,000 off list. Koppel truly has a small town feel with big city deals. We're right down 144th Street or at KoppelCars.com. Stock numbers G260980 and C119824.
Your home is your empire. Protect it with Empire Fence. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating tool at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. An Empire Fence can provide privacy and improve the appearance of your home. Keep kids and pets in or out of your yard. Increase security and add value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
Babe, pack your bags. We're going to Vegas.
Vegas?
We just got the estimate from the wedding caterer, and we're going to have to elope.
Actually, Members Owned Credit Union is offering no-fee home equity lines of credit. We can borrow what we need with equity from the house.
Wait, so we can keep the bacon wrap dates for the cocktail hour?
We can keep the bacon wrap dates. From wedding bells to trekking the globe and everything in between, capture your dreams your way with a no-fee Members Owned Credit Union home equity line of credit. Learn more at membersownedheloc.org. Limitations may apply. Equal housing lender.
Discover the difference that expertise and experience can make in your real estate journey with Next Ag Appraisal and Realty. Whether you need an appraisal, sales, or farm management, Next Ag comes up with a solution with your legacy and goals in mind. Next Ag isn't just their name, it's your future. So why wait? Visit their website today at www.nextagrealestate.com or give them a call at 402-380-0432 and turn your dreams into reality. Your land, your legacy, their solutions. Next Ag Appraisal and Realty.
Back to the Ticket weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hello and welcome back into the Daily Nebraskan Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Ben and Anthony still here with you for one last segment. It'll be about 8 minutes before we end and wrap things up here. But before we wrap things up, kind of want to go away from men's basketball talk because we've been talking about that for 47 minutes now. I want to go into now women's side where it was announced today officially. It was already kind of known, but it was announced officially. Caitlin Clark is going to be going into the WNBA draft, and she officially declared she's going to go to that. And I think this just really cements her legacy in women's basketball because she is the face. Like,
Oh, yeah.
She is like probably the biggest name. Like, do you feel like Caitlin Clark is the biggest name in all of college basketball right now, men's and women's?
I do. I think that just her mark on the game, not even just women's game, but I think college basketball in general, it's really just been historic. The seasons that she's had, she's now 18 points away from passing Pete Maravich for the all-time leading scorer in NCAA history. She already passed Kelsey Plum on the women's side, but she's 18 points away from Pistol Pete, which is honestly something, really a record you think is kind of unbreakable with just how many points it was that Pete Maravich had when he was at LSU. But yeah, her declaring for the WNBA, it's going to make the WNBA even more must see next year. I feel like the WNBA, that's the league that's really on the up and up with stars like Sabrina Ionescu, who face off against Steph Curry in the All-Star game, the 3-point contest. That was just a great event. Something that will definitely be back next year. Probably the highlight of All-Star weekend in general.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, just it's going to be very fun to see the Indiana Fever have the first overall pick. It's their second year in a row of having the first overall pick. They drafted Aaliyah Boston last year. You assume they're going to pick Caitlin Clark.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's good. They're building a very promising young core over there, and it's going to be fun to see.
Yeah. I mean, it's just crazy that how much impact Caitlin Clark has had, because when she gets to the WNBA, she's literally like from day one going to be like LeBron James of the WNBA.
Mm-hmm.
Not saying she plays like LeBron. I'm saying like just name brand, face value. Caitlin Clark is that talented, that she's that popular. Like, it's honestly crazy that, a college athlete right now, is getting deals with State Farm.
Oh, yeah.
And being on State Farm. Say what you want about her acting skills. They may not be very good, but she's still doing it. And State Farm says that they signed her. So I don't know. It's really cool. Just the mark she put in her legacy at Iowa, the state right next to Nebraska. It's been really like, even though Iowa has beaten Nebraska almost every time, and I get to say almost, they got the last one, they got the last laugh. But even though Nebraska is my home and I always will go for Nebraska, I still like, you just can't help but enjoy watching Caitlin Clark cook your favorite team.
Yeah, exactly. You couldn't hate on her because she will just drop 40 on your team. Like, it's a losing effort on your side. And it's really interesting with her declaring for the WNBA draft. There's really one thing that she hasn't done in her historic, legendary college career, and that is win a national championship. She made it to the national championship game last year and lost LSU. So
that's the goal this year.
Yeah, it's gonna be very, very interesting seeing how that turns out.
That's the final thing left for her to do. She's literally done everything but that.
Mm-hmm.
So if she doesn't win a national championship, she's going to be it's not only fans going to be disappointed, she's going to be disappointed in herself, because she's like, that's the final thing she needs to do before signing off and going into the WNBA. But even if she doesn't accomplish that, doesn't diminish anything she's done.
Oh, yeah.
She's been so amazing for women's basketball, and it's really starting to give life into women's sports, and it's going to be really cool. Definitely going to have to start watching more WNBA when Caitlin Clark's in there, because it's really cool. I always, though, find it interesting that people, well, first of all, the memes of people saying you're going to get drafted by the Detroit Pistons, I think that's just funny, because it's like, oh, they're tanking for Caitlin Clark. I think that's funny, but
might as well.
But anyways, there's people that say, I mean, I don't really want to get into this debate, but people are like, if she would go into the NBA draft, she wouldn't even be a first-round pick. And I'm just like, I don't even know.
That's just like,
it's a stupid.
It's a stupid argument.
It's stupid, but like, I don't know. I just think it's, social media is a fascinating place, Anthony. Dude, and people just bring up the weirdest debates.
Yeah, I hear like some really stupid people saying like, "Oh, I could beat Caitlin Clark in a 1v1."
All right.
I'm not scoring a point against Caitlin Clark in a 1v1.
There could be nobody on the other end, and I'd be missing layups. Like, like what? Like I ain't beating Caitlin Clark. Yeah. I mean, it just like, it's such a stupid argument because it's irrelevant, and Caitlin Clark's gonna probably be she's already going to be one of the best players in the WNBA from day one, probably.
Oh,
so
yeah.
She's probably like, it's just, I mean, we keep saying it over and over again, but I'm excited to watch her. Before we wrap things up, next show is not going to be till Monday. Probably recap the Rutgers game on Monday. Again, that will then be from 11 to 12. We went a little bit earlier today because, there wasn't going to be a show for 2 hours. And we were like, you know what? Why not? Let's go a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
Glad we did. It was fun. But with that, I think we're going to wrap things up, Anthony, unless you got something else to say.
Nope, I think we're good.
All right. Well, then with that, thank you for listening to the Daily Nebraskan Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Once again, make sure to tune in next week. We're done for the week, but we'll be right back here Monday, 11 to 12 at night, and we'll be giving you recap of the Nebraska-Rutgers game. But until then, we are out of here. Peace.
Big box stores are tempting for buying equipment for your high schooler in sports or for yourself in your sports leisures. But buying new is awfully expensive. Why not go somewhere with new and used options? Play It Again Sports is quality